Get ready to indulge in the creamy, nutty, and delicious Ekmek Kataifi. Trust me, you won't be able to resist making this heavenly dessert once you see how it's done. It's so simple, let's jump into the recipe. To kick things off, we're gonna be making our beautiful syrup, which is gonna infuse this Ekmek Kataifi with the perfect hints of sweetness, zest, and spice. So we'll grab ourselves a saucepan, and we're gonna firstly add inside 2 cups of water. Now we're gonna add 2 cups of sugar inside. Gonna grab ourselves half a lemon, got my squeezer, and we're just popping that in for that zesty twist. Now, we'll just grab ourselves 1 cinnamon stick, just throw that inside. And lastly, 1 tablespoon of Greek honey, just to give it that little bit extra. Now I'm gonna pop this onto a high heat, and what we wanna do is bring this sweet blend to a boil. Now a cooled syrup has the right consistency for soaking into the Kataifi pastry without making it too soggy or breaking it down. So this has been at a boil for 1 minute now. I'm gonna turn off the heat. We'll set it aside, and while our syrup's cooling down, we're gonna start working on our base. And as always, if you need any measurements or ingredients, just check the link down below in the description, which will take you to the recipe on my website. Now this is the Kataifi pastry that I use for this recipe, and we're gonna be using the whole amount. Now all we have to do is fluff it up by gently separating and arranging it in our baking dish. You also ensure that they cook evenly and prevent any clumps. So I'll show you what mine looks like. It's evenly distributed throughout the dish, and it's fluffed up real good. So the next thing we want to do is add some nuts to this kataifi. I've got 50 grams of walnuts and 50 grams of pistachios, which I've added to a mortar and pestle, and I'll just smash them around a bit until they look like this. So I'm just going to grab myself a spoon and just evenly coat it over the top here. And this is going to give it a killer crunch. Now next, for that magical touch that's going to bring this beautiful base together, I've got 250 grams of melted unsalted butter. And we're just going to pour this evenly over the top. Now pop this into a preheated oven at 170 degrees Celsius set to fan until this turns to a beautiful golden brown color, which should take roughly about 20 minutes. All right, so it's been 25 minutes, and this here is what mine looks like. Golden brown in color, a crispy texture, and you can smell the nutty aroma. It's killer. So next thing, we're gonna grab our cooled down syrup and we're gonna tip it on top of our hot kataifi. It needs about 5 to 10 minutes to absorb. So in the meantime, we'll start working on our creamy custard. Start off by adding 4 eggs into our bowl here. So we'll just crack them in. Now we're going to add inside 100 grams of caster sugar. We'll grab ourselves a beater and we're just gonna beat this up until it's light and creamy. All right, lovely. So I beat this up for about 3-4 minutes, and I'll just quickly show you what it looks like. Now in a saucepan, I'm gonna grab 1.5 liters of milk, and we're gonna tip this straight inside. Next, I'm gonna grab myself 100 grams of corn flour and 100 grams of plain flour. Again, just add these inside. Next up, we're gonna put inside 100 grams of caster sugar, and I've got 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So we'll just tip this in there as well. Now I'm gonna pop this onto a heat, grab myself a whisk, and we're just gonna mix all this together. We're gonna make this really warm, but be careful, we don't wanna get it too hot just yet. Lovely, that's nice and warm. I'm just gonna turn down this heat, and what we're gonna do, I'm going to grab my bowl here with the sugar and the eggs, and I'm gonna take 2 ladles out from this warm milk, just pop it in here. And we're just gonna mix it all up to temper the eggs. And once that's done, I'm just gonna tip this inside here, put this to the side. I'm gonna turn the heat back up and now continue mixing this custard. When you're making custards or creams, you wanna continually stir it because you really don't wanna burn the bottom. If you do, you'll see it come through and you'll have little dark patches throughout the custard. And this is even more important as the custard thickens. And that looks pretty good. I'll turn this heat off and I'll show you what mine looks like. All right, a creamy, smooth texture, and it's free from lumps. Okay, next up, we're gonna grab our custard and we're just gonna pour this over the top. Now we're just gonna spread this custard evenly over the syrup-soaked base. Now just using a spatula, I'm just gonna move it all around to make it nice and even, spread it out, and then we're gonna cover the top using some cling wrap by placing it onto the custard. If we don't do this, when it cools down, it will form a skin-like texture on the top, which we want to avoid. Now we're gonna let this come down to room temperature, then we're gonna pop this into the fridge for a few hours just to let the custard set perfectly. Now let's remove it from the fridge, take off the plastic. All right, we're almost there, but it's time now for us to whip up our cream to give it that cloudy layer on the top, make it look schmick. So in a new bowl, we're gonna start off by adding inside 600 mils of thickened cream. Lovely. Clean that up. Now, we're gonna put inside 20 grams of icing sugar, okay? So sprinkle this inside. And the final ingredient for this cream, 1 teaspoon of vanilla bean paste. So I've just got a spoon and we're just gonna scoop this out into the bowl. Lovely. Now we're going to beat this up until the peaks form. All right, so the cream is done. I'll show you what it looks like. So that's beautiful. So we want to remove these, get rid of the mixer. But firstly, you know the drill. Not bad. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab all this cream and we're gonna spread it evenly over the top of this kataifi, forming that beautiful cloud layer. Lastly, before we cut her up and serve it out, is we're gonna start dressing it quickly with a few simple toppings. I'm gonna add a sprinkle of ground cinnamon to the top, and we're gonna finish off with some finely chopped pistachios just for that extra touch. All that's left to do is cut this bad boy up and give him a try. Hoppa. Look, I've cut this into 9 pieces, but you could easily cut this into 12 pieces. But with kataifi, I just do like them that little bit larger. This piece here has got my name all over it. She's right in the middle. Let's see how nicely I can get her out without destroying it. Oh, she's jigging a little bit. And there you have it, guys. Your cream kataifi masterpiece is now complete. The moment of truth. Let's pop this down. It's time for Nico to give this a try. Oh, wow. This is that good that when I'm done with this piece, I'm gonna have another piece. Thanks for watching, guys. Yassas, I hope you enjoyed the recipe. See you in the next video.